host, Heather Linstad, class of 1985. I am so excited about today. My special guests today, Bob Brown, Ashley Hansbury Rokas, Keith Leczynski, and Dave Linstad, all from the class of 2006, and all currently police officers for the town of Chelmsford. So welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So Chelmsford, we all talk about it. You guys obviously haven't really left because you're still working in the area, but one of the things we always talk about is our high school experience and how that may have shaped you for what you're doing. And maybe being a police officer wasn't what you thought you wanted to do. But is there something from Chelmsford that you kind of remember growing up, you know, thinking about maybe I'm going to be a police officer? Or are you still around just because you love the town and the area?
For me, it was, I mean, there's always the athletics growing up, of course. That's one thing that gets you fully developed and engulfed in the community. But also, towards the latter years throughout high school, I was able to do an internship actually with Chelmsford Police. So that was kind of my first experience with police. I'd never had anybody in my family that was law enforcement or anything like that. But the ability to be able to go to the police station that it's actually in town and be able to see how the men and women there operated every single day was really eye-opening, got me a lot more interested in it.
Yeah. I know you've got a history.
Yes, father and uncle that were police officers, so I just sort of followed along.
Followed the suit.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought about it, but I'm not carrying it on. Ashley, how did you get into it? I mean, with and kind of with Bob with
same with Bob, athletics and stuff like that, and they're always at sporting events, and you see them always around and in the schools now. I went to school to be a teacher to start, and then I kind of decided halfway through that I think I wanted to be more of a police officer, kind of more involved in the community aspect of it than kind of teaching at the schools.
Yeah. The blackboard, standing in front of the blackboard wasn't your thing.
No,
It's now a whiteboard, but that wasn't
not the whiteboard for me, no.
And Keith,
So originally, I went to school after I left Chelmsford High. I went to Laconia for firefighting, a fire science degree. My mother was a firefighter in Chelmsford, so that's the path I originally was chasing. And but just to stay current with the civil service exam, I would take both police and fire, just because I wanted to get proficient at taking the test. And I took the police one. I scored well enough, and I got a card from the department saying if I'm interested in the job. So I began to pursue it. I'm like, all right, I'll see how far this takes me. And as I went through the process, I realized that it's actually a better fit for me than firefighting. So once I went through the interview and I processed, I kind of fell in love with it, and here we are.
Yeah. So was it? But you're all in the same class, and then that's kind of an interesting dynamic. Do you think any time during high school did you ever talk about it, or do we really not talk about careers or where you were going or any of that? And by the way, were you all friends?
Yeah, for sure.
Except for this guy. I'm just kidding.
So nobody really likes Keith?
Get in line.
Get in line.
Yeah. No, the way it kind of worked out was just, like I said, and especially in high school, you're still trying to find yourself, and I think we're all trying to find our own paths to see where, like Ashley said, she was going to go originally for teaching, and it's just funny how, the tracks all led us back to Chelmsford Police.
Well, and that's kind of the thought about a lot of it, and why we have you on the show, is that it does seem everybody kind of tracks back to Chelmsford. You might leave, but you seem to have
like gravity,
those kind of things.
Yeah.
But so is it interesting, because we know this, you must still see teachers, deans, somebody that I hope you haven't any of you pulled over. But I mean, was there a teacher or somebody or a dean that really had an influence? In your case, it might have been a coach, but that had an influence on what you wanted to do, or kind of getting through school and deciding where you went to school?
The one that stands out to me the most would probably be Mr. Cole. He was just a good teacher. I don't know if it shaped me on the way, but he definitely kept me in line and everything that led me to this career.
Yeah, the influence.
Mr. Marshall, he was one that was just always in my corner, and he was just always a good guy to me, and that's probably one of my number one support there.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd have to say Mr. O'Keefe. He taught sociology, and I had him first thing in the morning, and he was like, you don't be late to this class. If you come with a coffee and you're late, that was like, now I'm never late for roll call. He kind of instilled that in me, and just don't be late.
That's kind of an athletic thing.
Yes.
I mean, obviously he's the baseball coach and those kind of things, so he kind of has that mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had two of the same teachers, Mr. O'Keefe as well. He was really amazing at teaching you obviously the lesson plan, but also how to set goals and how to achieve them. That was something that I remember vividly taking away from his class. I also had Mr. Cole briefly, but I actually was more involved with Mr. Cole in the wrestling room too. He would help out quite a bit down there, and it was between him and Eli Gumbakis, it was those are the two big guys that I got to wrestle around with. So when he came into the room, it was always fun too. So
Yeah. But how about the deans? Did you guys were you guys all in the same house, or?
I
had Dean Battle.
Yeah.
Battle.
Yeah.
Dean
I like
Battle.
that he still lives in town. He lives
Yeah.
by Florida.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Dean Battle.
I had
Yeah.
Dean Doherty. I was in Emerson, so he was amazing the whole way through.
Mr. JD.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I was with Bobby. Yep.
Oh,
Same.
really?
Yes, ma'am.
So
So same thing.
Emerson House myself too.
Yes.
Yeah. It was Dean Quinn back then. I hate to say that, but yes. But I
Before
mean.
our time.
Well, I had Mr. Doherty. He was my soccer coach and softball coach at some point. So maybe he's old. So when you were thinking about it, leaving Chelmsford High, not going, no one went too far away. But how was that decision about making the college decision? Did you look at other schools a little bit further away? I know you were up in New Hampshire and stuff like that, but what was the process like that, going through it after graduating from Chelmsford, kind of thinking about where you really wanted to go? Was it, and ever a thought to leave and go far?
it was definitely a thought for me. My father left, and he was a Chelmsford High guy as well, and left it and went to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So that was immediately somewhere where I was interested. I ended up deciding to go somewhere a little bit closer. I went to Springfield, and so it was just far enough that it wasn't you weren't still right in town. It was an hour and a half, 2-hour drive, but it was just the perfect distance. You could still get home if you had to. I was really happy and comfortable with the decision to go out there. I never really had an interest to go too much further. It was just a great fit.
And you played sports out there?
Yeah, I played 2 years of football, and then I started playing lacrosse as well. I unfortunately got injured my second year playing lacrosse, and then all of a sudden my GPA started to skyrocket, so I figured let's run with this for a while.
And that's a big sports school kind of thing, education, that
Yeah,
thing.
that was
But
like, I think they had, when I was there, it was 97% of the student body played a varsity sport, so
Yeah.
almost everybody that goes there plays something.
Yeah, and education is a big part, though, too. Did you
Huge,
ever think about being a teacher or a coach? Or
Oh yeah, because the funny part was, at my school anyway, the criminal justice program that I was in was extremely small. There was only about 30 of us when it started. I think there was more like 55 or so when I left, which still is very small, but compared to it was a huge strength and conditioning school, applied exercise science.
Yeah.
There's a lot of students that leave there. A lot of them become phys ed teachers, stuff like that, strength coaches. There's a lot of strength coaches that are out there now working with NFL teams, some other professional sports franchises. So that was definitely a thought process. I never jumped ship and went that route.
But it's helped you, though, obviously, and we'll talk about it, though, with all of you. You have to be in condition to be a police officer, though, too. So some of your extracurricular, you don't actually have to be a varsity athlete, but I'm sure it's helped you in different ways to make sure that you stay in shape and do what you're supposed to do,
Absolutely.
I gather. I gather there's a fitness kind of test.
There's a couple. There's a couple.
Sure is.
So you did decide about education, but was it to play sports? Is that why you stayed closer,
To start, actually, I went to Indiana Purdue to play soccer.
Okay.
I only went there for a year, and then I transferred back home. My mom was in a car accident, so I decided to come back closer to home. And I wanted to play lacrosse, which I only had started as a junior in high school. We just started the program when I was a junior, so I wanted to be able to play both sports in college. And Curry was right down the road. My mom was still rehabbing and stuff, so I wanted to be closer. And Curry just ended up being an awesome fit for me. I played both soccer and lacrosse there, and it was awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
Did mine a weird way. I applied to a bunch of different schools, all different majors, and then I just went to UMass Lowell because that was the one I applied for criminal justice, and I wanted to do criminal justice. So that was an easy choice.
That was an easy choice over there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to be, excited to say that you graduated from UMass Lowell. I mean,
Absolutely.
the opportunities that UMass Lowell now has and offers, it's incredible, and I think across the country is so well known now too. So it's not
The school has grown astronomically since I left too. It's
Your
really good.
reputation.
It must be.
And what about yourself?
And like I said, Laconia,
Yeah.
but that was a big fire school. Actually, I know there was a
Yeah.
couple of Chelmsford firefighters that went to Laconia for
Yeah.
New Hampshire Community Technical College is what it was. But they went there for fire science, and again, that was the path I thought I was pursuing. So that's where I went there, just because they had a good reputation, a good fire science program. They put you through an academy while you're up there. So, and I went through EMT school up there. So they had a lot of kind of benefits for that school. Again,
Yeah.
that was the path I believed I was pursuing. But it's just funny how life works out. And then, like I said, I got this, and it was a better fit for me.
Well, it's like actually coming back here, it was probably, you found out, different things happen, and it was
Yep.
probably a better fit for you.
For sure.
So what about the academy? Like, when you decide that this is it, and then I have to go to the academy, did you all go to the academy together, or?
No.
Me and Ashley.
Yeah.
Ashley and
Yeah.
I went to the same academy. We went
Okay.
in 2015, and
Did you know you were both going to be there?
we figured it out.
Yeah, they kind of tell us.
Yeah.
We have to get all of our stuff, all of our uniforms and stuff. You kind of meet up before.
Yeah.
So we kind of prepped each other before we went to it, and then like I said, Ashley and I, it was myself, Ashley, Aiden Gillis, and Matt Farnald, us four. So it was us four, and we went to the Methuen Police one.
They're not also in the class of 06.
They are not.
No.
Oh my
a couple
gosh.
years behind
Oh,
us.
Matt's a little behind
that's
us.
why I am asking all these questions about Chelmsford High. There had to have been something, but like,
Something in the water.
for the class of 06, but. And did you guys go to the academy or no?
He's ahead of me.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I was in 2012. I graduated
Yeah.
September 2012. I did
Yeah.
go through with a couple of other Chelmsford police officers.
You did.
Brian Ubeli,
Okay.
who's now a detective, and as well as Kenny Meehan. He went through with us for a few months. He unfortunately got an injury, so he had to hold off and go to the next class, but in the same academy. Went to the MBTA Academy down in Quincy. So,
Is it hard?
oh yeah.
Academy's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no joke.
It was a tough 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean,
Every-
I know from watching him, getting in shape and doing it, but
Right.
what was your experience like, though? I mean, I kind of watched
I
you,
went.
but
I went by myself, so
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody. I ended up making a good friend of mine from Tingsboro, but just because of neighboring towns and stuff. But other than that, you just gotta have thick skin, mostly.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to talk to everybody else when you first graduate, because a lot of us go to different academies. For instance, I went down to Quincy. You guys went to Methuen, right?
Yeah.
I went to Reading.
Reading. So you get a totally different experience. You get the same lessons and the same credentials when you leave each academy for obvious reasons, but the whole experience for everyone is completely different. So it's fun to talk about those differences.
Yeah. And you shouldn't call me old, by the way, because your chief is in and around my age.
I never called you. I certainly did not do that.
I thought there was a reference about the not all the teachers were still there at Chelmsford High.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But how is that? I mean, is it? I know it's kind of funny, but like when you talk to people, it's like we all had the same experience kind of at Chelmsford High. But
Right.
now he's, I mean, is that what you aspire to? I mean, to see a Chelmsford grad as the chief and those kind of things. Is that something that's kind of inspirational, or is it just because you love the community and those kind of things? But to get to those other levels that you've seen, people from Chelmsford go to.
Are you asking like rank? Are you saying like promotions
Yeah,
and
like,
stuff?
yeah.
It's kind of going back to what we started with here. Like, there's something about Chelmsford. I do feel like there's just gravity. It's just everybody. I know a lot of people. They went away to like different schools all over the country, but a lot of people they all come back. I don't know what it is. So it's cool seeing that. Yeah, some people from home go and they climb the ladder and they succeed, and it's good. The town's. It's been a great town. It really is to me. And I worked in a couple other divisions. I was on the DPW. I worked in the highway department before I got on the police job too, and just in all walks of life, this town's it's been a good town, a good community, and the sports are huge here. There's not a lot of bad things I can say about it,
Well, because we sit next to the coach of the year for everything.
Yes,
is
yeah,
that the truth?
Yeah.
So by the way, I just do have to ask that. Like, do you think that there's young women that are looking at you now, though, too, that think about being a police officer and those kind of things? And did you ever feel like they might be intimidated because you're a police officer, or is it just because you're a really strong coach? Like, is that?
I think the police officer thing, I remember my first year, I was on duty and we had like the sports meeting and I had to go in uniform and no one spoke, everyone was deer in the headlights kind of thing, but they've grown to realize that like I'm here to coach once I'm off duty and stuff like that. But definitely girls are like, I want to be a police officer now. Like a lot of them did internships like Bobby did.
Yeah.
and they're going to school for that now. So I know that they look up to me, and
Yeah.
it means a lot that they want to kind of pursue the same things that I did.
To aspire to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it nice that you have the kind of the flexibility to be able to coach though, and
Yeah.
still do your job? Like,
Yeah, the higher ups are great. They allow us to kind of make our schedules like flexible, so we can be a part of the community and coach if we have to and stuff like that.
now you've still done. Are you still doing the floor hockey or different things that you were working with the young kids?
So the Chelmsford Police Athletic League, we just do the flag football now.
Okay.
And that season had just ended. A lot of us were coaches. It's a lot of fun. It's good for like the young kids. It's completely free, and people just are able to sign up and play. It's not always as organized as it can be, but yeah, it's fantastic and it's a lot of
Do
fun.
you
for
guys all
everyone.
coach too in the league? I mean,
did
not,
the,
not the coach a year for everything.
Well, my team beat Keith's team, just for the record in the championship.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there is that.
Yeah.
So she's still the best coach.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was up against some pretty seasoned
Still one in
She's a seasoned vet. You can say that about that.
she's tough to compete against for sure. No, but yes. So to David's point, we have the Chelmsford Police Athletic League.
Yeah.
It's we do the flag football every year. It starts September, early September. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So September, it's 5th through 8th grade, and the more kids that do it, the better. We love doing it, and it's only, there's no practices. It's just Sunday, show up and play, and we coach them. We kind of direct everybody, but it's only an hour out of their day, and it gets us involved with the upcoming kids, and it's great seeing kids come back, because I've had kids I've coached for the last 3-4 years in a row, and it's awesome seeing them kind of grow and recognize you and participate. And again, it's just all about the community.
So how do kids find out about that? And that's free, right?
It's totally
free.
free.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a Facebook account for the Police Athletic League, and they'll sometimes go around the schools and stuff and pass out flyers and things like that just to get the notice out there.
Okay.
Usually a month or two before
Yeah.
the season starts.
So it doesn't matter how many kids sign up,
No, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You'd
Can
have
always
enough.
have
You
more.
have enough coaches.
Yeah, we'll have.
Yeah.
We'll,
That makes some people coach, but we'll have enough.
we'll make it work. No, we love doing it. It's awesome. It is. There can't be enough kids to show up, so we'll
Right.
really plug that. So.
Yeah. Is there other things that you just in your free time though? I mean, away from being a police officer, leaving. Do you ever leave the town of Chelmsford? You don't actually live in the town.
No,
of Chelmsford,
I get
but-
a little break every day when I
Every
leave, and I
day.
go. I'm not too far. I'm right up the street in Dunstable, but
Yeah.
have that little break. I drive up, I pass all the farms and see all the cows, and it's almost like you're in a whole another state. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a break, but
But with your schedule, because I mean, there's overtime and there's all kinds of things. I know your extra time is and you have 3 little ones running around, and you've got kids everywhere for lacrosse. But like, is there other things that you do within the community that you enjoy, or that you've still done that you from high school, or any of those kind of things?
I have lucky enough that my little brother and sister are both involved in sports, so it's nice to be able to. I'm not active in coaching or anything with them, but it's just really nice to be able to still be involved in the program from the sidelines, and be able to watch and see them go through the process as we did so many years ago. It's really fun. So.
Yeah.
Pass. I play volleyball.
Well, that is true. I mean, you guys do a lot together.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
those are
Definitely.
the kind of things. Like you can talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and like you guys still have a good community.
How long we have?
I think we might go over the time.
No, but I mean, you still have a good community, a relationship,
Right.
a lot of fun. There are different things that you still hang out and do. It's not all just about, you're not just friends right now because you work together.
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of my thought on that.
Dave and I can go back to 4th grade. Is actually when we first became friends. So we inadvertently became friends. We both wanted to be friends with a different kid for a school project, and he didn't choose either of us. And we were the last 2 kids picked. So we ended up becoming friends 4th grade, and the rest is history. So we've just been friends since.
So this is an interesting thing, and it involves actually you and I was at the school when I was coaching the softball. How do you feel about the high school? And I saw you there, and there was a threat to the school.
Which time?
Well, I know. So it was a couple of years ago, though, and I just saw you, and you walked the hallways of the high school, and there's been a couple of times and those kind of things.
For sure.
And now your job is, and it's kind of got to be kind of surreal, that you used to walk it as a student, and you'd never thought anything was ever going to happen, and society has changed. It's like, is that just kind of a strange feeling? And I remember bumping into you in that hallway one day. Is that kind of a strange thing? And you're working with them hands-on, and you guys are too in the fact, like you just said, with the flag football and stuff. Is it strange, though, sometimes to think like, okay, I really have to protect, and because as students, we never thought that there was ever going to be.
I think it's a massive sense of pride, just to be able to say that you went there, and another thing too, from not to get too into it, but at like a tactical level, being able to have those calls when unfortunately they do happen when we go in there, and have a little bit of knowledge of how the school's set up, things like that. That's a massive advantage. So, and also, like you said, some of the teachers and some of the deans that we had are still in the building to this day. So it is definitely a large sense of pride to be able to say that we're there protecting the same school that basically started us on this whole path in the first place. So.
Yeah.
And to build off that point, going through the school that we've been through, when we do get the call to come check out the school, we have a really, really good defensive tactics instructor and program, and we're already in the schools training on a regular basis. We've been in the school, we've been in the high school, and we do mock drills, and we're already there. There's our programs. I'm not going to get into the tactics of it, but what we do in the training we're already in the school, so we're already kind of seeing it like before when we actually get the call to come in there. So it softens the blow a little bit that we have a really good training program right now. So we're already practicing, hopefully for never, but we are practicing.
Right.
So we have a good program for sure.
Yeah. But it is odd, though, that it's your school.
Very. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think as students that we ever really kind of thought about it.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know, right, that you know the schools and it's happening,
Right.
and that you have those kind of things. So on a roll call, like, you all know each other. I don't know if you're all on the same shift, but has there ever been a great practical joke that you've pulled on one of each?
Great practical joke. I mean, I get made fun of
I feel
a lot.
like you
I get made fun of a lot. I don't know if that's a joke.
Yeah.
I take a lot of
They
heat.
think they're jokes, but they're just joking on you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I take a lot of shots, but it's okay. I tell myself it's because they like me. So
Is that what you do?
that's what I tell myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keith
Yeah.
never lost that sense of the firefighters where he always thinks he's going to be in a calendar at some point. So he dresses up every
smiling.
single day, always smiling.
Yeah.
Uniform's way too small.
Okay.
But it's all fun.
How about a practical joke on somebody that you might have pulled over and you really were going to give them a warning, but you kind of played the game? And I bring this up because I know, David, at one point, there was some time when you got on that everybody was saying, oh, but I know your sister, Heather. And he would actually have to text me and be like, do you really know this person? like those kind of things. But has there been something, family? I mean, you've got to know family.
Right. I mean, inevitably, when you grow up in town, you're going to end up running into a lot of people that you know, and it's maybe you don't maybe do an actual practical joke, but maybe you sit in the cruiser for a little bit longer while make them sit there and sweat it out for a few minutes
Really
before you
shine the
walk
light
up.
in the mirror. So
Yeah.
really you can't see who's coming.
So there have been some times.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't talk about it.
We'll never tell.
I do want people to stop calling, saying to David, by the way, I'm friends with your sister, and him having to text me. So
Right.
maybe I'm ending that. Maybe those kind
You
of
never
things.
know.
But anyways, I have one more question. If there was another profession that you would have taken out of Chelmsford High and you ever even thought of, would there have been anything else but being a police officer?
Mine's go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to be a teacher. Obviously, people I'm around, my coaches, all that stuff, all are in the system. It's very unusual for people to be a police officer and a coach. It's more a teacher-coach kind of thing. So anyone that I kind of looked up to was always a teacher and a coach.
Yeah.
My answer is easy because I was almost thrown into it right from the get-go. My father is a partner at a fiber optic company that he started with two of his colleagues back in early 2001. So I was working there for a couple of years right out of high school and throughout college and stuff like that. So if I wasn't to do this, that would have most likely still be where I'd be at. So.
Yeah.
So to avoid the layup, obviously I went to school for firefighting, but I was on the DPW. I worked on the highway department, plowing snow and doing road construction. So if I didn't get this job, I'm sure I'd still be there. So it was a good job. And again,
Yeah.
the town of Chelmsford, I can't say enough good things about. It's been good to me. So.
I'm happy I got this job because it probably wouldn't work out. But I have a hobby and passion for writing, but
Yeah.
that would be a kind of more of a dream than a
But you could still do
financial. Yeah, I can always do it on the side.
it. You can always do it on the side. Well, again, I hope you guys had fun reminiscing about these things. I really, truly appreciate you being here. It's always great to talk about CHS and continue success in protecting the community, and we greatly appreciate it. If nobody else says thank you, I'm saying thank you. And to, of course, Ashley, keep winning with that team, okay? So on behalf of the 2006 group, I'd like to thank you for joining me tonight on Where Are They Now? I'm Heather Linstad, your host. Have a great day.
I didn't know that you were into that. I've never gotten a single letter from you.
Yeah.